So guys, my name is James Smith and I'm the CEO of Smith Brothers Media. I'm very proud to be here today in front of this roaring audience. There we go, thank you. There we go. So I did used to be a youth worker in a previous life, so I do normally like to get audience participation. However, I probably won't try that today. So a little bit about myself. I'm from the company Smith Brothers Media. We're based in Melbourne. We've got a large team of experts ranging through from marketing, video production, design, and also copy, as well as development. So from a perspective of what we do, we specialize in marketing for franchisors and franchisees, and we like to work with you individually from a local marketing perspective. So today I wanted to share a few tips. The seminar I want to give you is really about how to market your franchise and make money. Now it sounds really corny, but at the end of the day, we're all in business to try and make money. However, we often forget the true answer to one of these questions. Now, I will ask the question, why do we do marketing? Now it's often seen as something where we're trying to get our brand out there or sell a product, but actually there's intrinsic meaning to this. So does anyone want to hazard a guess as to why we do marketing? Now I will pick on someone. Maybe Damien from Regis would like to answer that question, seeing as he's not paying attention. So Damien, why do we do marketing? To let the world know about our businesses. Does anybody want to hazard a guess? There's a lady down in the pink jacket. Why do we do marketing? As a franchise or a business, why would you do marketing? To attract more clients, yes. Jason, why do we do marketing?
I'm just walking out in case people couldn't hear her. Why do we do marketing?
Yes, why?
To make money.
Fantastic! That is exactly the right answer. That wasn't even prepared. So yes, of course it is about getting more customers, it's about getting our brand out there, but ultimately the real why is to make money. But more importantly than just making money, we invest money with the hope of making more money. Now, as crazy as that sounds, sometimes with marketing we get so caught up in the buzz of doing a video or a social post that we forget about the true meaning of what we're trying to achieve, which is to make more money than we're investing. So I'm going to give you a few tips today about how you can successfully market your business or your franchise to ensure that you do make money, more money than you put in. So those 3 tips we're going to run through are database building, smart local marketing, and the most important, how to measure success. So I like to tell stories. So this is going to be a short story about a cafe owner. Now, this cafe owner approached us a few years ago. They had a fantastic local little cafe. They had the best coffee in the area. They had the ambience just right. Their locals loved their beans. Every single person who came in had the best possible experience. However, they weren't generating enough business. And they came to us and they said, James, we really want to grow our business, but we just don't know how. So we asked the question, how much of your business is from your locals? And they said, well, it's all local. We're in a local suburb. We don't get a lot of foot traffic. We rely on our local repeat business. So straight away, we realized an opportunity, which is to capitalize on more trade and more transactions from their local customers. So the next question we asked is, how many local customers do you have? And they couldn't answer the specific question. The reason why, they didn't have a database of their existing customer base. So the next step for us was to go about building that customer database. Now, we don't have to always start online with a database, and we always get a little bit confused or a little bit nervous about building it because we think of it as an email database or a text message database. And we think we have to do that through maybe an online competition or a Facebook post. But it doesn't have to start there. So what we did with this particular cafe is those loyalty cards that you get every time you go in and you get the 10th coffee free when you stamp it. Well, instead of just giving the loyalty card away, there was an extra little tear-off tab. And to get that loyalty card, they had to put their name and their phone number. So automatically, we're giving them something of value and we're receiving something of value back. And that was their personal details. Now, over the course of the next month, after running that campaign, 500 people were in that database. As we went through, we started to do other things to build that database further. Competition entry, win a free coffee for a month if you put your name and your number into a bin. Now what we do with that database is we're then able to use that to then treat our customers like VIPs. So rather than just sending them out messages trying to sell them more product, we let them know the day before the special comes out. So as a member, they feel really, really special. So automatically what started happening was people were coming in more frequently to take advantage of those special offers. Sure enough, after the following few months went by, their trade increased, their average transaction rate per customer over doubled. And all of a sudden they're making more revenue, and their cost per acquisition of a customer was no longer a problem because their average lifetime value of a client had grown so much. So think about that in your business, how you might have to apply a database. Now the lessons from that story. Digital doesn't always have to start online. Sounds crazy, we talk about digital marketing, but it doesn't have to start online. So in that example there with that cafe, we used mobile phone numbers written down on a piece of paper to then turn into a digital database. Now what I didn't tell you is we were also running simultaneous to that a Facebook campaign for that cafe. Now with that audience that we then created through that database, let's say there was 2,000 names on that database, we were able to upload that to Facebook. Facebook automatically marries up those phone numbers with Facebook users. Even if people haven't liked or followed or even seen your Facebook page, we can start promoting your ads to those people. Did anyone know that you can do that? It's kind of scary that you can actually upload your own database to then target those people on Facebook. So all of a sudden we're able to use digital to actually market to people when we've only got their written phone numbers. Lesson number 2. Databases don't have to be used for just emails and text messages. As I explained there, we're then able to upload that information onto Facebook to then start marketing to them. On top of that, we can also then use that database to create what we call a lookalike database. Facebook is so smart that they will take that database you've just created, create an avatar of your customer, and then you can choose to then target that exact avatar in your local area. So even if you haven't got a campaign running, you can all of a sudden start targeting your exact customer based on your existing database. So remember, database building, get connected with your customers and build your database. Add value to your business with database creation. This is a really interesting fact. Who here has a database? I know Damien will do. Campbell does, a few of you. Now, if you haven't got a database and you go to sell your business, let's take an example. Let's say there's 2 identical businesses up for sale. One of them has a database of active customers and a marketing strategy. The other one doesn't. Which one do you think is worth more? The one with the database. Database isn't necessarily just about building value in your business today and taking more profit. Of course it is, but it's actually also part of your exit strategy. Anyone who's looking to get into business is also looking to get out of business. And if you're doing that, having a database is a great way to add value to your business. Okay, smart local marketing. Now this is a very interesting topic, and it's something that a lot of people are struggling with, and they get confused. So I'm going to tell you a story about a Bosch workshop. So one of the clients that we work with on a regular basis, and probably now around about 40 or 50 workshops across Australia, is Bosch. They've got 200 franchisees across Australia. We take care of all their national marketing, but we also work with each of their individual workshops as well. Now the interesting thing, now you might think that they're all the same. Just because they're a franchise with Bosch, they all have the same problems, they all have the same issues, and they all have the same successes. It's not true. They are all slightly different. And it's the same with you guys when you're looking at acquiring a franchise. Your franchise will be different based on your location, your experience, and maybe what you're offering as a product or service within that franchise. So this is a really key story for you. So one of the Bosch workshops approached us, and they've been established for around about 30 years. So a very long time. They were extremely successful. They were always busy. They had no problem in acquiring new clients, but the problem was they were making lots of revenue, but very little profit. So in effect, they were just spinning their wheels. No pun intended, by the way. Anyone get the joke? No, too late, okay, that's all right. I'll try better next. So with that problem, we looked at trying to find a way to increase their profit margin without having to increase their workload. So the first thing we did was ask them the question, well, where is the profit in your business? Now they're a workshop, remember, they're repairing cars of all makes and models, servicing, repairs, gearboxes, whatever it might be. The answer was by looking at the data that we found that more profit came from European vehicles, more profit came from regular servicing and brake servicing. So what we did, we devised a smart strategy and creation of content to focus purely on that side of the business. So then, using smart technology, we then used a local search campaign around a very specific 5-kilometer radius, targeting people who are searching for those makes, BMWs, Mercedes, brake servicing, etc. Then on top of that, we also used their database of people who had actually been targeted in the past and actually used their services for BMWs and Mercedes to target them through Facebook like we just talked about. Now, over the coming months, what do you think happened to their business? Anyone want to hazard a guess? Campbell? Campbell's a bit nervous today, it's okay. So over the next few months, their revenue increased by 35%. Their net profit increased by 25%. But guess what happened to their workload? It decreased. So because their audience was changing, it was shifting to the models that they wanted, their profit margin increased so much so that they didn't actually have to work the same number of hours, yet they increased their revenue by 35% and their profit by 25%. Who here would like to earn more and work less? For those who didn't put your hand up, you're clearly not listening, because I think we all do. So the lesson here is think about your audience and how you can target them smarter using local marketing. So what we did with that client is we thought local. One of the dangerous things with digital marketing is it's very easy to do. And as soon as something is easy to do, it's also easy to get wrong. So as soon as we start looking at digital marketing, you can geo-fence your target radius. Now, this is particularly important for you guys when you're looking at working with a local marketing strategy for your franchise. Most people are likely to come to your franchise because they're local to your business. So it's really important to understand the geo-targeting for your business. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to mean your entire product range. For example, with that Bosch workshop, for their higher value vehicles, people were willing to travel further. So your marketing could be further afield. Whereas for lower value items, the marketing might have a much smaller geographical area. Next thing, know who your customers are. So I said to you at the very beginning, we identified the opportunity. We looked at their data. Look at your information around your customers, your products, and where you make money, and where the opportunity lies for your perfect ideal customer. So as soon as you know who your ideal customer is, you can start to identify how you will market them and what messages you're going to say. Now, in the case of Bosch, it was Mercedes owners, it was brake servicing, it was regular servicing. So those areas of business we were then able to target. So as soon as you know your customer, you can target them very specifically. So remember, invest in marketing into the right areas for your business, understand who your audience is and where they hang out online. Really strange saying, but think about where they hang out. For Bosch, it's people who are looking for a service. If you're a cafe owner, it might be the local school. So if you're a local school, well, most likely you've got your favorite cafe, which is 2 doors down. So when mum drops the kids off, she's probably going to catch up with some friends at the cafe. So why don't you think about that and target a Facebook campaign with creative, including that school, to a special offer for parents from that school? And then target everyone who likes or visits that school who has checked in within the last 30 days. And all of a sudden, your ads are only going to people who are interested in that school. So think about where your audience hangs out online and target them there. Okay, lesson 3. Now, this is the most important lesson. If you're going to take one thing away from today, it's this lesson. Measure and learn. I cannot say this enough. Measure and learn. So this is a story about an air conditioning service company. We've been working for them for now about 6 years. Very, very successful business. They operate across the whole of Australia. They are Australia's #1 online servicing and repairs business for air conditioning and heating units. Now, as you can imagine in that business, there are certain times of the year that it's extremely successful and other times of the year where it's very quiet. In Brisbane, it's probably more air conditioning, but in Melbourne, there's some extremely high peaks of hot weather and some extremely low troughs of cold weather. So from the perspective of that customer, their business is doing this throughout the entire year. And as you know in business, it's extremely difficult to grow when you have peaks and troughs like that. So what we needed to try and help them do was to flatten out those peaks and troughs so that they could grow their team, employ more people, and have much better cash flow within their business. So what we did is we looked at their entire marketing campaign and identified areas of marketing strategy that you can turn on and turn off at a moment's notice. Now that sounds really strange because marketing is usually built up over time, but there's certain strategies that you can turn on and off instantaneously with the same effect happening to your results. So with this particular client, through looking at their data yet again, through measuring and learning, we were able to identify that AdWords was a fantastic area of opportunity for us to grow business really quickly and also to turn it off. So what we did is we took that budget that was usually just annualized equally over the year rather, every month, and then only turn it on at specific trigger points that they needed to then build their business when organically they weren't getting as much repeat business. So in the shoulder period between winter and summer, what we would then do is turn that campaign on in dribs and drabs and slowly build up to a peak to level out those peaks and troughs. So now what's happened with that business, as soon as the weather starts to decline from hot, we'll increase the AdWords budget and start to generate more revenue because we know the cost per acquisition for every single phone call from that campaign is still well within means of profit margin. Then, as soon as the temperature starts to get so cold that everyone's starting to call for heating, we then reduce that even further. Now, one thing that I haven't told you is over the last 3 months, we've now developed a bit of software that actually allows us to automatically turn ads on and off based on a temperature in a specific suburb. So we've created a little bit of technology that allows for this customer to automatically turn their campaign on or off based on temperature predicted for the next 2 days. So all of a sudden, that peak and trough has gone from this to just this. And what that's meant for them is they've been able to grow their business, they've brought on more partners, they've got more contractors, and they've got more employees, and they're set to double their business over the next 12 months, thanks in part to this strategy. So, what are the lessons from that story? Track where your customers, leads, inquiries, or bookings are coming from. Now, try to use digital to measure that. Who here actually runs a marketing campaign at the moment for their business? Hands up. A couple of hands up, fantastic. Now, I'm sure you all think you know where your leads are coming from, but do you actually know definitively exactly which campaign strategy they are coming from? Or even within that, which piece of creative did they see that triggered them to actually engage with your brand? So some of you here will have seen the TVC that was out promoting this expo, and that might have been the thing that triggered you. But then some of you might have seen a Facebook ad that talked about being your own boss and getting into a accounting franchise, and that might have been what triggered you. Some of you might have seen an ad that actually talks about becoming a handyman with one of the franchise units here. Now, each of those ads, I can now tell you exactly which one of you came because of those ads. And because of that, we can then refine campaigns very quickly and very smart. So use digital to try and track all of your acquisition from a digital marketing perspective. Now, this is a big one. Now, I told you before, you invest in marketing to try and make more money from marketing. Now, you cannot do that unless you measure the cost per acquisition. So, try to calculate your marketing cost per acquisition of a new customer. Then, once you've measured that, you'll then be able to work out whether or not that marketing strategy or that channel is actually bringing you profit. So remember what I said before, the profit per customer needs to be greater than the marketing investment per customer. You put money in, you've got to make sure you get more money out. Now, unless you don't measure every single customer and where they come from, you will never know which part of your marketing strategy is working. The 3 lessons that I want you to remember from today. Build value in your business with simple, smart database building. Not just for profits now, but for profits when you exit your business as well. Lesson 2, know who and where your customers are and target them with smart local marketing. And finally, as I just said, make sure you measure every single one of your marketing strategies to ensure that investment you're putting in is returning for you. It has been a pleasure to actually be able to speak to you today, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your evening. And for those who are here tomorrow, please do feel free to come and speak to myself or one of our team at the stand over in the corner. Thank you very much for your time, guys.